Welcome back to GM Vision. Today we're going to start a new series taking a closer look at NFL contracts and everything that goes into them. This is going to be part one of this series. We are going to be taking a look at some of the basic foundations of how NFL contracts are structured today. We're going to take a look at the base salary and how that works, and we're also going to take a look at different types of bonuses that can go into a contract. This video will give you a basic understanding of how contracts are structured in today's NFL. It'll also help you better understand the player contracts I break down in all of my videos. So now let's start it off by taking a look at base salary. Okay, so looking at the base salaries, this is going to be the amount of money the player receives during the regular season. A player's game check will be the base salary divided by 18 for the 18-week season. This is going to be the 17 games and then the one bye week. These game checks will be paid weekly or bi-weekly over the 18-week period. For example, if a player's base salary is $18 million, they will receive $1 million per game in their game check. So like we've talked about in our past videos, the goal is to keep the base salary as low as possible because there's not much flexibility when it comes to keeping the cap hit low. The way that general managers do keep the cap hit low is by using different types of bonuses. These are the types of bonuses that we are about to break down. But when it comes to base salary, a lot of the times you will see a team restructure someone's contract, which is taking the base salary and converting it into a bonus, which then can be spread throughout the contract. So let's get into some of these different types of bonuses. Okay, so the signing bonus is the money that the player gets when he signs his contract. The player will receive all that money up front, but for salary cap purposes, it'll be prorated or spread out against the salary cap for a maximum of 5 seasons. So that player receives that money all at one time, but the team does not put that money on their books all at one time, and it is spread out through a max of 5 seasons. This money in a signing bonus is usually fully guaranteed, but there are some stipulations in different contracts where if a player leaves the team before a certain date, they could lose some of their signing bonus. Now, like we've talked about in some of our player contract breakdowns, signing bonuses and bonuses alike are ways that NFL GMs are able to lower salary cap hits each year. So when we're talking about the ability to spread bonuses throughout a contract for a maximum of 5 seasons, this allows teams to pay the players a lot of money, but not have all that money hit the salary cap in one season. Even if the player has multiple different types of bonuses, which we're about to get into, those bonuses will all be spread throughout 5 years. So only be a fifth of that bonus that's hitting the salary cap each year at a time. So for example, a contract with a $50 million signing bonus would have $10 million spread out through the next 5 years of the contract. So it only have $10 million each year hitting the cap. Now let's move on to another type of bonus that could also affect the salary cap. Now looking at the roster bonus. This is going to be the amount of money a player can earn by continuing to be on a team's roster throughout the entirety of their contract. A lot of the time, there will be triggers in the contract for if a player is on the team by a certain date, he will receive that roster bonus. This is usually counted against the cap in the year it is earned, but if it's fully guaranteed at the time of signing, then it will start at the beginning of the contract as part of the signing bonus. This can be the case, but usually you see roster bonuses in later years of the contract because it incentivizes the player to still be on the team at later years in their contract. And if that is the case, where roster bonus won't be earned until later in the contract, then it won't be a part of the signing bonus and it will be its own roster bonus that will hit the salary cap. Like any other bonus, it is prorated or spread out against the salary cap for a maximum of 5 seasons. So for example, a contract with a $5 million roster bonus starting in the year the contract was signed would have $1 million spread through the next 5 years of that contract as part of the signing bonus. But if the $5 million roster bonus isn't until the 3rd year of the contract, then the $1 million won't hit the salary cap until that year, and then will be spread out up to the next 5 years. Now, some of you might be saying, what if this was only a 4-year contract and this $5 million roster bonus doesn't go into effect until the third year. How will this bonus get spread out up to 5 years after it goes into effect if there's only 4 years in the contract? This is something called void years, and will help you get a better understanding of what void years do later in this video. Okay, so now looking at option bonuses. These are bonuses that can start during later years of the contract. These option bonuses are prorated or spread out against the salary cap starting when they are triggered for a maximum of 5 seasons. Option bonuses are another way NFL GMs are able to lower salary cap hits each year. So for example, we're going to look at a 2-year contract with a $10 million option bonus in each year. So in year 1, you would have $10 million of that first option bonus spread throughout the next 5 years of the contract. And then in year 2, you would have that second option bonus of $10 million spread through the next 5 years of that contract. But that last payment of that second option bonus in that second year would end a year later than the first option bonus. This is because, like we've talked about, these option bonuses are triggered at later years of the contract. So let's go take a closer look at this in one of the player contract breakdowns I've done in my past videos. Okay, so this is a deep dive into Saquon Barkley's option bonuses throughout his new deal. So this is where we're going to pull in the void years that we talked about earlier in this video, along with the option bonuses. So in his first option bonus, which he got at the beginning of his contract of just over $15 million, you can see it gets spread through 5 years. But like we said, since this one was in the beginning of his contract, this ended up being part of his signing bonus. Now looking at the second option bonus, you see almost $15.5 million. You can see what we were talking about. This one triggers later in the contract in 2026, and then it runs throughout 5 more years of the contract. And you can see this in the third and fourth option bonus as well. It runs for 5 more years and then 5 more years. You can also see how they add up consecutively. So in the first year, it was just one option bonus, and then in year 2, it was both of them added together, and then in year 3, all 3 of the option bonuses added together, and then in year 4, all 4 of them were added together. And then later through the contract, you see the same thing as they start to decline and the payments start to go away. This is why these void years are so important. Like we talked about in past videos, void years are really meant for any type of bonuses that are going to prorate after the contract expires. So these are basically just filler or placeholder years, are extra years for this money to get pushed into so the cap hit stays low. So as you can see, if we didn't have these void years, in 2028, this $16.5 million would have to go all right here, which would make this cap hit over $28 million. But by having these void years, you're able to have only $3 million out of that $16.5 million hit the cap in that year, and then you're able to spread it out throughout the next 5 years. So to clarify, these void years, the player does not have to be on the team. His contract could expire in 2028, he could leave and be on a different team, but the team would still owe him this signing bonus money that they spread out into later years of the contract. That is why in these void years you will only see bonuses and not any base salaries. Okay, so that was a lot of information. So now let's bring it all together in one thing. So this is a past contract breakdown I did on Saquon Barkley. Here you can see the base salary. So this is what we just talked about. You can see that he has these void years starting in 2029, and like I talked about, this is a perfect representation of what a void year would look like. He has 0 base salary because he's not under contract in 2029, but the team still has bonuses that they have to give out in these void years. These void years are specifically for the team to keep the cap hit low. So as you can see, he had some signing bonus that went into 2029. Now looking at this $50,000 mark, don't worry about this number. This is actually another bonus that we're going to get into in a later video that's a part of Saquon Barkley's contract. It was a workout bonus that he signed at the beginning of his contract that went into the signing bonus, and that's why you see that $50,000 here in 2029. But just pay attention to where it is in the void year. And then also what we just looked at, the option bonus that was in 2029. So look at this cap hit. Instead of having the big option bonuses that we just talked about hit all in 1 year, you're seeing them spread out throughout his entire contract, keeping these cap hits low. You also see what we talked about earlier in the video. He has a roster bonus in the last year of his contract. This is the team incentivizing Saquon to be on the team in 2028. Okay, so now that you've seen it all come together, let's wrap this up. So how are these all connected? The base salary, the signing bonus, the roster bonus, and option bonuses are all added together and counted against the salary cap. The signing bonuses are fully guaranteed, but roster and option bonuses are not always guaranteed. Using bonuses that aren't fully guaranteed can give the team protection against being on the hook for money, which is why it is sometimes preferred to use roster, option, and other bonuses in the case that a player gets cut or is not on the team for a number of reasons. In the next video, NFL Contracts Explained Part 2, we will include incentives, contract restructures, rookie contracts, and fifth-year options. Drop in the comments if you have any questions about this video or anything you think I should add to Part 2. Please subscribe and like the video. It goes a long way in helping this channel grow. That's all I got for you this time, and I'll see you in the next one.